another episode of the Just My Take podcast. This is Dex PC5, aka Dexter K. Man, do we have an episode here for you? The streets are buzzing right now. Rap beef is in the air. Oh my goodness. The start of football will be starting on Thursday nights. Oh, we are in for a very, very, very good week and a very good episode. Let me get some housekeeping things out the way first. So, I'm doing a little revamp into the show, just some minor cosmetics. If you go on iTunes, the show is weird. I put it under society and culture, but for some reason it says sports and recreation. I want this to be under society and culture because I think I touch upon other stuff besides sports and whatnot. However, that's just a minor detail. Keep subscribing, keep listening, keep spreading the word. Tell your friends about it. You know, the show's growing little by little, but it's definitely growing, and we definitely want to keep this show going for you. Absolutely. So now that we got that out the way, we got to talk about some of this rap beef that's going on. Today's episode is just going to be about the drama in the rap industry. It's going to be crazy. Excuse the background noise. I got the AC going on in the background. I got my dog Roscoe playing some toys or whatnot. But we're going to get right into this episode. So, for those who don't know, Eminem dropped his album Kamikaze. It's been buzzing. He dropped it August 31st. And man, oh man, he was coming after for some people who shitted on that Revival album from a couple years ago. I didn't really listen to that album, Revival. I heard it wasn't really hot. I didn't really waste my time with it. But on this Kamikaze, you get the old Eminem. And what I like about Eminem is that he plays no games when it comes to calling out people. He does it directly. He does not do it subliminally. The one thing I hate with the new age of rap right now is that you have too many of these subliminal, not direct attacks. So you have a lot of fans wondering, was Drake talking about so-and-so or so-and-so? Drake is kind of notorious for doing that until lately. But, it's been a while since rappers have just directly say, I hate you because of X, Y, and Z. But I've been waiting to hear from these new age rappers. I know sometimes Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, they try to throw some smoke at these other rappers, but the other rappers don't bite. Anyway, Eminem, he comes out with this Kamikaze album, August 31st. And man, does he hate some of the people that he's going after. So he goes after some of these little guys, Little Pump, Little Xan, Little Yachty, all these young guys. Listen to the album. He throws some direct shots at them. He doesn't like these young rappers. He hates these fucking mumble rappers. I'm a 90s guy. So for us 90s guys growing up in the 90s, we were used to the battles, the lyrics. You had to be a very good rapper. You couldn't just get by doing bullshit. You had to be very good lyrically. And when it came to a rap beef, you had to come hard and strong. You had to spit that fucking fire. None of this mumble jumble shit that you hear today. So I grew up in the 90s. That's how rap was. So that's why Eminem, I like that he's coming after some of these people. I love it. So he goes after all these littles, saying that they're not good. They do this mumble rap shit. Machine Gun Kelly, and this one is something which I kind of agree with Machine Gun Kelly a little bit. So Eminem says, but next time you don't gotta use a Tech 9 if you want to come at me with a submachine gun, and I'm talking to you, but you already know who the fuck you are, Kelly. That's Machine Gun Kelly. I don't use sublims, and sure as fuck don't sneak this. But keep commenting on my daughter Haley. So this was a personal dig, a personal dig. And this was because, Machine Gun Kelly mentioned Eminem's daughter Haley a couple years ago, saying that Haley looked good. And Eminem, as a protective dad, saying, hey, keep my daughter's name out your mouth. And so he went after Machine Gun Kelly. And I'm going to talk about Machine Gun Kelly because I like what he did later on. He obviously went after Iggy Azalea for a little bit. I didn't know why he went after Iggy. Maybe it was just the wordplay. And then he went after some radio personalities. He went after Charlamagne the God. And for those who don't know about Charlamagne the God, he's one of the famous hosts on The Breakfast Club. He does this podcast that I listen to called The Brilliant Idiots. He has a book, a bestseller out. He has another book coming out next month. Charlamagne the God, he's a media personality on the rise. I think he has a show on HBO, but I don't know if it will come out just because he did have some sexual allegations that I think were disproven. But in this current Me Too era, I don't know. Networks are very hesitant to pull the trigger on people who have allegations like that, and I completely understand. He goes after Charlamagne the God saying, Charlamagne's going to hate on me anyway because of my BET Cypher last year. Give me Donkey of the Day. What a way for 2018 to get underway. That was in the first song. He did that song, The Ring. He did a lot of shots. And, what he's referring to is, Eminem on a BT Cypher talked a lot of shit. Definitely went after President Trump. But Charlamagne said it was kind of whack. I thought the flow was okay. I thought Eminem was a little bit offbeat. Like he should have maybe, done some more stuff, more material before doing the Cypher. But hey, to each their own with their opinion. He goes after another media personality, DJ Academics. For those who don't know about DJ Academics, he's a young up-and-coming hip-hop personality. He does the show Everyday Struggle. He used to do it with another guy, Joe Budden, which I'll talk about in a second. But DJ Academics, and the line that Eminem says to him is, and don't make me have to give it back to Academics, say this shit is trash again. I have you twisted. Like you had it when you thought you had me slipping at the telly. Even when I'm getting brain, you'll never catch me with a thought. So that's just a direct dig at DJ Academics' love light, messing around with all these thoughts that he's trying to get with now that he's famous and whatnot. And DJ Academics was one of those people who said the Revival album was trash. And then he goes after, obviously, President Donald Trump and Mike Pence, which he doesn't like. He goes after the Recording Academy. He goes after Drake, but, everybody goes after Drake. Even though Eminem kind of likes Drake, he did say that, Drake is kind of changing the industry. I don't know, for the better. So there's a little, dig at Drake, not too much. He mentions Earl Sweatshirt a little bit, but he's actually a fan of Earl Sweatshirt. But the one guy that I want to talk about is Joe Budden. For those who don't know, Joe Budden, the guy who made that song Pump It Up, he has a podcast out right now. It's a red hot podcast. It's actually debuting on Spotify next Wednesday, 2 episodes. I love this podcast. Joe Budden is very eccentric. He hosts this show with Rory and Mal. I love this show. Joe Budden used to be, I think he's still under Slim Shady Records. He was in this group called Slaughterhouse, and it didn't work out. And so Budden and Eminem have some behind the scenes beef, okay? And Joe Budden, so the line that Eminem said to Joe Budden was, somebody tell Budden before I snap, he better fasten it or have his body baggage zipped. The closest thing he had to hits is smacking bitches. Oh my God, Shay. So this was a direct dig at Joe Budden. He had some domestic abuse allegations. Okay, and Joe Budden, when it came time for his podcast today, I listened to it. He went after Eminem in a big fucking way. He said, and this is for the fans to decide. This is for the streets to decide. Eminem, I've been better than you this entire decade. I don't know about that, Joe Budden. I don't know about that. I think Eminem is better in my opinion. He has been the past decade. But Joe Budden did make some fucking some sense here. Eminem, he sometimes comes off as an old bitter guy who's stuck in his own superstardom and doesn't see the shit around him. And Joe Budden, he really went in on Eminem on the podcast because they did a lot of business together. And Eminem, as much as people like him, he did a lot of shit behind the scenes that like was a little fucked up, which Joe Budden talks about, which MGK talks about. Joe Budden saying that, Eminem has been in the superstar cocoon. He's been fucking sheltered and bored. Like, pretty much everyone's like, yo, you're a rich ass guy. What are you really angry about? What are you so angry about? So Budden, he was very angry. I hope Joe Budden goes after Eminem and does a diss track. I know he tried to start beef with Drake one time, but Drake didn't bite because obviously Drake is a megastar and he's not going to deal with Joe Budden. But Joe Budden at that time was like, yo, these rappers don't beef anymore. Everyone's all friendly and shit. So with a guy like Eminem who's throwing fire, I expect Joe Budden to fucking throw some fire back, and let's continue this rap beef. Hip hop needs more rap beef. I thought we had something with Pusha T and Drake, but Drake's team canned that. They put the lid on that. So I hope this with Eminem, he's a very petty motherfucker. I love it. Joe Budden, he's a petty motherfucker. I love it. And a new guy who's throwing his hat in the arena, which I love, is Machine Gun Kelly, MGK. This guy, man, he did a fire diss track called Rap Devil, a play on Eminem's Rap God. He did the video a few days after Eminem came with the diss track. And MGK, man, this guy is hungry. Now with MGK, for those, he's kind of like a pop rapper. He is. I think my favorite song of his is when he first came out. He had that song Invincible with Esther Dean. He had a few hits like, Wild Boy, At My Best with Haley Steinfeld. I think for those who are still kind of wondering about this guy, that song, I think it was Bad Things with Camila Cabello. That was probably that huge hit, which was Camila Cabello's, I think, one of her big solo pop hits. He was the rapper on that. Machine Gun Kelly is very wild, a lot of tattoos. Comes from kind of the same area that Eminem comes from. So I think Machine Gun Kelly was initially very hurt that Eminem kind of dissed him because Eminem, there's white rappers who obviously appeared before Eminem, like the Beastie Boys, but I think Eminem was the first one to really, really be mainstream. And yes, the Beastie Boys are mainstream, but I think Eminem took it to that next level where some people have him as in the top 5 of best rappers of all time. And of course, every new rapper, especially if they are Caucasian, we automatically compare them to Eminem. And MGK, it was almost like a young spinning image of Eminem when he first came out. Now, not so much, but MGK always had bars. And in this diss track, Rap Devil, he came to fucking play. I suggest everyone take a chance to listen to that song. It's called Rap Devil. He goes blow for fucking blow, and pretty much he talks shit about Eminem in terms of how he's irrelevant. He's a grumpy old guy. The fact that he's making a fucking diss track 6 years later because he just made a comment that his daughter was beautiful, and it wasn't like a perverted way. He was just like, oh my god, Eminem's daughter is beautiful. Wow, that's it. Nothing malicious. But Eminem, he's a very sensitive guy, so he took heedance to that. And so Machine Gun Kelly mentions Haley again. I think the line of the night for me, because he talks about how Eminem is so irrelevant, he needs to call Rihanna to make another hit because he can't do it on his own. He says that he's 46 years old, just crying like a little bitch. Saying that he'll body Eminem. He talks about a lot of behind the scenes stuff about how he tried to have Paul Rosenberg, who's a media personality, hip hop radio guy from New York, try to shelve him on the radio, not give him radio play, which is very fucked up in the rap industry, where you try to manipulate to get people off the radio or no play so that they can't get their streams, they can't get their shine. How Eminem is pushing 50. Pretty much, he kind of made a theme like, hey, you need these big stars around you to be relevant. You need 50. You need Dre. You need Rihanna. You need Drake. You need all these people around you to make you relevant because you can't do it on your own anymore. This is kind of, I mean, this is going to be a little crazy to say, but this seems like a modern day type of Rocky movie to a degree where you have the young guy saying to Rocky, yo, you're old as shit. You can't do it anymore. But little do people know Eminem is a GOAT for a reason. I expect the diss track to happen. I hope there's a diss track because this is the line. This one line is where I felt there's no way that Eminem cannot respond. And he says like this. He says, you know, bitch, I'm from Cleveland. Everybody quiet this evening. I'm reading the eulogy. Dropped an album called Kamikaze. So that means he killed him. Already fucked one rapper's girl this week. Don't make me call Kim. I'm gonna talk about those last two lines. Already fucked one rapper's girl this week. Talking about G-Eazy's girl. That girl Haley. Not different Haley. The one that said that made that song Mad in Love. There's rumors that Machine Gun Kelly hooked up with him. And then the fact that Machine Gun Kelly said, hey, I hooked up with this dude's girl. I'll hook up with your girl, Kim, your wife, Kim. That's that. Whew. You're talking, you bring the wives into it, and you talking about you're gonna bang another rapper's wife? Man, oh man. So a lot of the rap legends, a lot of the OGs are telling Machine Gun Kelly, be careful. Be careful. You know, the game has mentioned something saying, hey, be careful. Bizarre from D12 saying, hey, leave Eminem alone. So MGK came ready. He was fucking ready because he's like, I'm not going to let this motherfucker come in and talk shit about me. I was actually very surprised that Machine Gun Kelly kind of stuck to his guns a little bit, no pun intended, and made a very strong diss track. And I don't think Eminem saw that coming. But sometimes I think with these rap veterans, you know, like Pusha T and Eminem, I think sometimes they just throw out the bait like a fisherman to see what fish is going to bite. And then they're a little surprised when that fish gets the bait, and then they go to work. Because Pusha T did that to Drake, and then we had that little mini beef. Eminem did the shot to MGK. MGK came back. I hope we have a good long beef. And I hope Joe Budden, I know you had it on the podcast, but if you're going to say you were better than Eminem in the past decade, you better have a good diss track. We want to hear the bars. We want to hear the bars. That's it. We want to hear the bars. Anyway, switching to another rap topic. Here's another beef that we got to talk about. Kanye West. This man. So now Kanye he's officially apologized to Drake for that feud. Hold on. Sorry, a little ad jumping in here, trying to get in here. He apologizes to Drake for that feud. This comes after days that Kim Kardashian was shut down rumors that she once had a romantic relationship with Drake. So obviously this was turning ugly, and Kanye West did like 8 tweets on Twitter talking about how much love he got for Drake, and that a lot of behind the scenes stuff like, oh, he didn't bring Pusha T to go at him and yada yada and this and that. I don't know how Drake feels about this. I don't know if he accepts the apology. I still think Kanye West is still fucking crazy in my opinion. So I don't know if he's going to be embraced. Because I do think that he had something to do with Pusha T going after Drake right after Drake just left Good Music, and that started the whole feud. And the fact that he claimed that he never listened to either diss track that followed, that's bullshit. Come on, Kanye. You definitely listened to the diss tracks. You're just trying to save face. And right now, Drake is the #1 star of the world right now. So Kanye has to appeal to Drake. Drake doesn't have to do the same back. You know, and Kanye West said in a tweet, I didn't have conversations with your child while I was talking to Pusha. I never played with the ideas of people's children, especially after I spoke to Wiz Khalifa a few years earlier. He pretty much was trying to say, listen, Pusha kind of did it on his own. That remains to be seen. You know, I'm not going to doubt that because Pusha T is a veteran in the rap game. He's been around since the Clips in the 90s. So Pusha T could have been like, I want to go after this guy Drake. But I'm sure Kanye kind of pushed them, nudged them a little bit just to get started. I'm sure Pusha T accepted the challenge. But for Kanye to kind of walk around and say, oh, I have I have nothing to do with this. I didn't tell Pusha T anything. I think that's a bold-faced lie. I honestly think that's a bold-faced lie. Anyway, so Kanye West apologizing to Drake. He's apologizing about the slavery thing. So I think Kanye had a lot of bad energy, felt the backlash from a lot of his fans, which I didn't think he was expecting, and is now trying to save face. I'm still not going to be 100% on Team Kanye or embrace him because he still did some fucked up shit, and I don't really know where his head is at. In one of my previous episodes, I talked about, Kanye's never really been the same since the unfortunate tragedy of his mom passing away. I think Kanye's just been on a weird level. So I don't know if we'll ever get that like college dropout Kanye. I miss that Kanye so much, man. I miss him so much. But I don't know if we'll ever get that type of guy. Anyway, let's jump into another topic. A lot of good music going on. Childish Gambino comes out with another interesting music video. Now, it's not as crazy as the This Is America video, which drew a lot of millions of views. And I think it was a very good shock value video, but he put in a lot of messages in there, which made people have to watch several times to understand it. With this one, it's an animated cartoon. The song is Feels Like Summer. And to me, I felt like this was like an episode of Atlanta on FX, in my opinion, just the cartoon version. As he was walking in. So he's walking on a nice, hot, sunny day. And he's just walking down the street, just observing. And he's walking down the street and he's seeing all these people's shenanigans. Some people are saying that, he's reportedly stepping away from music. So him kind of walking through the video was his way of kind of observing the industry before he leaves and does some different things. I think Donald Glover, he's in a good space right now. He could pretty much do anything. He was in the recent Star Wars movie. Musically, he's doing very well. The Atlanta FX show is a critically acclaimed show-winning show. So he's in a good wave right now. So, and I recommend you watch the video. It's about, I think, maybe 4 minutes. And it's interesting. So there's a lot of subliminals that he throws in there because that's just Childish Gambino lately. And there's a lot of cameos of a lot of rappers, a lot of famous people in it. So I'm going to break down some of the cameos that were in and the meanings behind that, because that's what Gambino does, Donald Glover does. So the first one was a scene of Nicki Minaj building a house, like a carefully built tower, and Travis Scott knocking it down with a block. So essentially like two kids playing, building a tower, knocking the blocks down. That was a jab at Nicki Minaj pretty much crying because she didn't get number one over Travis Scott. And to this day, she's still crying about it. So that goes to show me, I think that Nicki Minaj definitely had something in her contract that would have given her more money or more something if she was the number one spot. Because I've never seen a superstar artist go that crazy for the number one spot ever. And Nicki Minaj never used to do that either. So something was up with this time around. So, excuse me. So it was just, showing kind of the childish feud behind it, especially on Nicki Minaj's part. And Nicki still keeps going. Travis Scott just keeps quiet. Because Travis Scott, he's a young up-and-comer right now. He doesn't have to prove anything. Astroworld is a great album. So that was one scene that they showed. Another one, Azalea Banks Up the Tree. For those who don't know about Azalea Banks, she made that hit song called 212, a song about New York City. I would say maybe 6-7 years ago. She's in a shady spot of the tree. And that's a shot. That's a shot. When I say shot, I don't mean a dig. So let me change that. That's just a reference. Yep, a reference to Azalea Banks. She's always throwing digs at other people at random times. It never seems that Azalea Banks is happy about anything or happy about anyone. She's always throwing a fucking dig at someone. So that's in reference to that, always being shady. The next image, which was kind of in the beginning, you had Migos playing basketball. Quavo playing in the Celebrity All-Star game, just bouncing around a basketball, and Childish Gambino is walking through that. You have Will Smith hosing down a car, and this is in reference to Will Smith, Summertime, in which he's rapping about just hanging out in the summertime and wiping down his car and all that stuff, just being like an old dad on the block with a beer in his hand, having a good time. And then there's in the middle, you have some references where you see the artists kind of show up and then they fade to black and another new artist shows up. So the first one was Kid Cudi. One of the references was Kid Cudi, how Kid Cudi has been struggling with his with depression. Kid Cudi was one of the first people to really come out and talk about mental health and depression in the industry, and his struggle, his back and forth with that. And I hope Kid Cudi works on that and gets better and gets well. He's a very talented artist. So you see that. I think the biggest image that people on this video that people saw and people were talking about was you saw Kanye West crying in a Make America Great hat. And, Kanye West, his support for Donald Trump, saying slavery is a choice. He's been on a lot of hot fire. Listen, obviously, I am not a Trump supporter by any means. You can listen to any of my episodes, and you'll know I'm not a Trump supporter. But I respect people's right to support whatever they want as long as it's not malicious and dangerous or harmful. And I know some Trump supporters, and I know the reasons why they're Trump supporters. And, hey, some of it makes sense to me. Some of it does not. But it's America. It is what it is. Anyway, Kanye, he's crying in this video, and Michelle Obama comes in and gives him a hug from behind, and Kanye stops crying a little bit. I don't know if this is a reference to just the Obamas, the beef between the Obamas and Kanye West that's happened in the past few years. I don't know if it's a reference to maybe Kanye West issues with the black community, because a lot of black people feel that Kanye is kind of going on the deep end a little bit, and a lot of people are like, we don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. And maybe that's Michelle Obama kind of representing that community and kind of being like, hey, it's gonna be okay. We'll welcome you back at some point. I don't know. You can get a lot of references from that scene. And then you have a scene with Beyonce with the shirt R.I.P. Frito Santana. This is a reference to Chief Keef from Chicago, his cousin dying earlier, and just a sad scene, but a good remembrance of that rapper. And then you have another scene of Oprah and Tiffany Haddish braiding little Uzi Vert and Zendaya's hair. Zendaya's an actress on a lot of TV shows, but I think more kids TV shows. And just kind of showing, the difference in talent. Obviously, Tiffany Haddish and Oprah are big time stars. Lil Uzi Vert is not. Sonata, she's getting up there, but she still has a long way to go. One of my favorite scenes is J. Cole being splashed by Ray Shmurda. So Ray Shmurda are like two little kids with water guns, and they go to J. Cole, who's watering his lawn, and then they spray J. Cole, and he sprays him back. And that's a reference to J. Cole's clear division between J. Cole does not like a lot of these younger rappers, which a lot of these old guys do not like the younger rappers, and the division between the older and new generation rappers, the lyrical rappers and the mumble rap rappers. And then one scene that a lot of people are talking about, which Gambino throws in there, but we're all distracted by the cameos, and this is what he does, is about that the song is literally about climate change and global warming, and that we're just playing the game of what is the celebrity doing, which is exactly what we did during the video until you watch it again, because we're all looking at these scenes and like, oh, what is this celebrity doing? What does this mean? What does that mean? Meanwhile, it's a hot day. For a lot of us, we're thinking, oh, it's a summer day, but if you listen to the lyrics, one of the lyrics, he says, every day gets hotter than the one before, running out of water, it's about to go down. Air that killed the bees we depend on. Birds were made for singing, waking up to no sound. Just Donald Glover's views on climate change and how it's getting hotter all the time, and that we're just distracted by the stupid stuff that we're not focusing on the big picture. He did the same thing with This Is America, throwing in the references into police brutality, the sensitization of the gun violence, and how we're distracted by the dancing and all that stuff, and the social media. So that's Childish Gambino. This guy's a very, very just thoughtful guy. I don't know, man. He always has a way to throw in something that makes you think. I love this guy. I hope he continues to keep doing music. I hope he doesn't leave the music industry, because I would love him to keep doing some more music. He's very, very talented. I'm waiting for another season of Atlanta. So, football is going to start tomorrow. Falcons versus the Eagles. And I want to talk about the Colin Kaepernick thing. I know I've been talking about it before, and the beef between the NFL and Trump. And obviously, for those who have been living under a rock, Nike has aligned themselves with Colin Kaepernick. I saw the ad today. It was very inspirational. Nike does very good commercials and ads when it comes to motivational stuff. And they're pretty much backing Colin Kaepernick as one of they're endorsing Colin Kaepernick. And of course, there is some outrage from President Trump and a lot of Trump supporters. There's actually one guy who fucking ran into the middle of the street with his Nike shoes on, lit the shoes on fire, and obviously numbnuts had to go to the fucking hospital because he suffered major burns to his feet. And I tweeted back to him, I'm like, yo, why don't you just donate the Nike to the vets or a charity instead if you're that angry? And he replied back, oh, and like a dumbass. So this is obviously another big rage, because now you have a major global company, Nike, who's backing Colin Kaepernick. And I think this is the final hurdle, because I think Colin Kaepernick standing up for what he believes in. I know a lot of people in America, we talk about it, but we don't do it. And Colin Kaepernick, he sacrificed a lot. At the end of the day, yes, he's an NFL player. He has a several million, but the fact that he sacrificed the rest of his NFL career to be an activist, to go against the president, to be fighting with the president, the NFL, a big time corporation, I have to commend him on that. I really have to commend him on that. And now that a major company like Nike's backing him, I feel Nike is doing what the NFL should have done a long time ago. Nike's like, we don't give a fuck what you guys have to say. President Trump, we respectfully disagree with what your stance on this. We're going to back Colin Kaepernick. We do not care what you say. We don't care what tweet you do. We're not going to be pressured to change a fucking thing. And therefore, yes, there's outrage amongst Trump supporters. I completely agree. I completely understand. But Nike's not really going anywhere. Everyone knows that. They're the biggest sports apparel company in the world. Yes, their stock went down a little bit. They lost a couple million. It'll be back up soon. It's Nike. Oh, trust me. People saw the Nike stock dip a little bit. If you're a smart stock investor, I'm sure people are researching it, and they're probably like, you know what, maybe it's at a dip. Let me buy some more. That's my stock advice for the day. But anyway, you could agree or disagree with that stock advice. That's up to you. But Nike's gonna be back, and the outrage. I was looking on Twitter and all the outrage that's happening, and I think we have gotten to a point as a public, as a society, where now we're starting to really pick out and be like, all right. For people who are still angry to this day, like the guy who wants to burn his Nike material and all that stuff, I get it. It's your freedom. It's your right to do that. But at what point are we all going to start talking about police brutality against people of color? Because the thing is, if we're talking about the flag and we're talking about the disrespect to the vets, at this point, there's been a lot of vets who have come out and said, we support Kaepernick. We supported Kaepernick since the beginning. And in fact, Kaepernick talked to a Navy Green Beret on how to best do it. So there's portions of the military who already support Kaepernick, and there's some who don't. But at this point, I truly feel there's some people that it's easy for them to hate on something than to really talk about the pain of something. So it's easy for them to talk about the hate for the vets and the flag as opposed to talking about the reality of police brutality against people of color. And at this point, I'd rather you just come out and say, I don't want to talk about this issue. I don't really want to talk about this issue. That's fine. Then move out the way and let the people who do want to talk about the issue on both sides work it out. Instead of you yelling and getting in the way, no, stop doing that shit. Because this issue is not going away. And I'm glad it's not going away. Luckily, I have never encountered something like this. But knock on wood, you never know about tomorrow. You never know about tomorrow. And I am a big black dude. I mean, a lot of my friends who know me, who see me, yeah, I am a big dude. So one little thing with the police, you never know. Hopefully, I pray to God it never happens. But just because it doesn't happen to me does not mean I can't picture myself and the people that it has happened to, or the people who have survived that stuff. So I do support this cause because I do think that there needs to just be more awareness to it, and there needs to be solutions on both sides. I understand people who support the cops. I don't hate the cops. I support the cops as well, but there needs to be some common sense solutions from both sides on how to compromise and come up with a solid solution to fix this issue. I believe it with this, and I believe it with the gun violence, because once again, we had some loser in fucking Jacksonville shoot up a fucking Madden tournament because he lost the video game. This is the state that we are in this country. And then you have one side that screams gun control, you have the other side that says, oh, mental health, you don't blame the gun. Listen, cut the bullshit on both sides. We all know there's a problem. We used to be able to come together and fix this shit. We need to start doing that thing again. That's my stance on it. That's my only political stance on it. Anyway, Nike, they're not going to lose money on it. And actually, they're smart motherfuckers. If you don't think the execs at Nike carefully planned this out, researched this, timed this out, then you're an idiot. Nike is not losing any money. Yes, they lost millions in the stock market, but they're making so much money from soccer. Soccer is booming in this country right now. They're a major sponsor of soccer teams. They're a major sponsor of NBA teams. Those are two sports right now in this country in which viewership is growing like crazy right now. So even if they lose NFL supporters, they'll regain that back and more in soccer and NBA supporters. You think I'm lying? Here are some of the soccer teams that they support right now. They support Barcelona, Spain, all over the world. The national teams that they support, France, who just won the World Cup, Brazil, the Netherlands. What else? Who we got? China, which is growing in soccer. United States, which is growing in soccer support. Portugal, CR7, his home country. So they're gaining it in soccer, and in basketball, they're gaining it too. They have a lifetime contract with LeBron James right now. Michael Jordan, Kobe. They just signed Cristiano Ronaldo to a lifetime contract. So all that money that they lost, Cristiano Ronaldo, that plays for Juventus, who some would say is like the LeBron James of soccer, they'll gain that money right back because Juventus is selling a lot, making a lot of money with Cristiano Ronaldo on that squad. And Real Madrid is losing money because Ronaldo's not on that squad. Ronaldo sells jerseys, point blank. And the thing is, Nike knows the demographic. They know that their key demographic are people like me, males from the age of 19 to 35 who are younger, we're more hip. And Nike knows that my demographic is more likely to support Kaepernick than not. Obviously, there's people in my demographic who don't support Kaepernick, and I respect that. But majority understand what Cap is talking about. They may not agree, but they understand what Cap is talking about. The ones who disagree are the plus 35 crowd, but Nike doesn't really try to cater to them. And I was seeing on Twitter, for those who are fucking burning their shoes, these are the Nikes that they're getting out of fucking Models for like $20, $15 at a Payless. These are not the Air Force Ones, the Jordans that they're buying at Foot Locker for over $200. I would love to see someone burn up some Jordans. I would love to see that shit happen. It won't fucking happen. These are cheap shoes. Nike knows what they did. And, they're standing for a cause they feel is right. It's not the first time they've done stuff like this. Actually, if you look back in history, people who love Michael Jordan, Nike was one of the first companies to have a black man as the star of their ad campaign back in the day. And Michael Jordan, look how much money that Michael Jordan has made Nike over the years. And that Nike has given to Jordan over the years, an equal partnership. Kaepernick is still one of the highest selling jerseys in the NFL. Even though he hasn't played in the league for a couple of years, he's still one of the highest selling jerseys in the NFL. And let's keep it 100. Kaepernick right now has a lawsuit against the NFL for collusion. I do think the NFL locked Kaepernick out. It's very clear that the NFL definitely locked him out. Publicly, you could see how teams were very hesitant to sign him. They did subliminal digs at him, and it was evident because they were scared that if they signed Colin Kaepernick, that there would be a huge fan outrage. I understand that. Owners, they got to look at their bottom line. But Kaepernick definitely has a case. Eric Reed, the second player who sided with Kaepernick and did a lot of the kneeling during the anthem, he's out of the league, and Eric Reed is actually a young guy. So that guy can still play. I know some people shit on Kaepernick, Kaepernick can't play. No, Kaepernick can still play. He can still be a backup at least. But Eric Reed is still a starting safety in the NFL, and he's not getting a chance. So obviously, he's being blocked out. But anyway, President Trump, he obviously shitted on Nike the day before, but he said something unlike him, saying that I do respect the company's wishes to do what they want. And then he also said that Nike pays Trump a lot of money because they're tenants at Trump Tower. So obviously, Trump Tower, President Trump, he's not trying to mess with his bottom line. It's very funny. Very funny how he moves sometimes. But then today, he tries to really shit on Nike and says, the NFL ratings have been down, yada, yada, this and that. But everyone knows Nike is not going to lose money because they're a huge global brand. And this is an American issue because it's about the American flag. So Nike is still going to make their money overseas, especially through soccer. So they're not really losing in the long run. So I thought it was a very smart move by Nike. And I think it gives Kaepernick the backing that he finally needs from a major company to get that support. My only issue and only worry is that now everyone who was so angry about the disrespect to the flag and the veterans are now going to shift that anger to Nike. Therefore, bypassing the original message, which I keep repeating, Kaepernick is protesting for the injustice of police brutality in the communities of people of color. I feel people that don't want to talk about the message keep skating around and keep thinking of a scapegoat. So maybe Nike kind of took that role because it's a public company. They don't really give a fuck. Hate on us all you want. You hate on us for all these other rumors like the child sweatshops and yada yada, all that stuff. We're okay with it. And it takes the heat off of Kaepernick a little bit. But I think Kaepernick's, his work is not done. And, another thing, this is talk about the vets. Listen, we got to keep it real. As a country, we got to keep it real. We do not treat our vets good. We just don't. And I've been watching a lot of the news and a lot of people who have been coming out and saying, we don't treat the vets good. A lot of our homeless are veterans. When they come home, we don't treat them well. We don't give them shelter. We don't help them find jobs. We don't donate. And don't get me wrong, I am not being a saint because I could probably do more to help out vets as well. And I'm going to start doing it, especially after school, to start donating and volunteering and helping. I need to practice what I preach. Honestly, I really need to do that. As a country, we don't do enough. We just simply don't do enough. And there was this one guy who was on a panel. He talked about how people are complaining, people are talking about disrespect to the vets, but yet these are some of the same people who will walk by a vet when he's begging for change and do nothing as they're on their way to happy hour or to their Friday restaurants. So let's really be honest over here. As a country, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Liberal, Conservative, we don't do a great job when it comes to our vets, and we need to do better. For me, we pay enough taxes in this country. If the government said, hey, some of these taxes are now going to be allocated to making sure every vet that comes home from war or from their service overseas has a house, a place to stay, and this is going to give them a little bit of startup money so that they can be set while they're looking for a job, I'd be fine with that. I'd be like, hey, you know what? Take more of my money, because obviously I didn't serve and they did. They did the ultimate sacrifice. They did the ultimate thing. And I think as the American public, I think sometimes we, since the majority of us don't have to go to war because this country obviously doesn't have mandatory service compared to other countries, I think sometimes as a public, we forget how serious military service is, going to war is, and all that stuff. And so we don't treat our vets the way we should, probably compared to other countries. So I think the silver lining, I think the thing we got to take from this Kaepernick thing is not only do we have to look at issues of police brutality, but we also got to look at the treatment of our vets. I mean, come on, the VA hospitals are some of the worst in the country, and they're for our veterans. So what the fuck are we really doing? So that's my message to some of these people so upset about the flag. I understand it's your right. It's free speech. You're allowed to do that. But really sit down and think about it. I understand, okay, maybe you live in an area where there's really not that many people of color. I know America is mostly 70% white. I get that, I understand that. So you can drive through a lot of towns. You only see maybe one person of color, maybe two, maybe none. So when you see this issue on the news, you really don't understand it. You don't understand how this could be such an issue. And I think when it comes to communities, people of color of communities obviously distrust the police, that is built over time, and that's a little opposite compared to the Caucasian communities. But if you're really upset about the flag, which you have a right to be, especially if you did serve in the military, I 100% get that. But for those who didn't serve and are complaining, you should really be like, what can I do to help veterans out? If I'm really this upset about the disrespect of the military and the veterans, what have I done lately to help out the veterans? That'll be my thing to you. That'll be my thing to you. Keep the same energy. Don't be complaining about on Sundays and shit like that. But then when you see a vet, you walk by and you don't hand them any money. You don't help them out in any way or shape or form. In fact, instead of fucking destroying your Nike shoes and apparel, donate it to a vet, a homeless vet on the street. Donate it to a charity. Put that shit to good use now. No one's forcing you to buy Nike again if you don't want to. It's your right to do it. There's plenty of people who don't buy certain products from certain companies because of some of the things they do. Well within your right. Don't damage the stuff you already bought. Don't light your shoes on fire like a dumbass. Donate it. Donate it. Anyway, this is another episode of Just My Take. I don't know. Sometimes I try to not get political on this stuff, but sometimes I have to. But I try to really come down the middle and try to put some common sense into it, instead of just going super, super into my political views. But I think politically, I have different views on different topics, and a lot of times I'm just like, where's the common sense on both sides to just fix this as human beings? Human beings first over party. That's how I think. Anyway, it's been a lot of drama with the rap beef. Summer's buzzing right now. Actually, it's the end of summer, but rap beef is buzzing right now with Eminem. Looking forward to what happens with that and MGK. And hopefully we get some more stuff on the weekend. I hope you guys enjoy the opening of NFL football weekend. College football is buzzing. Soccer has an international break. I watched a few games, but, I kind of like the club stuff going on right now as I'm waiting for FIFA to come through. I'm hoping FIFA come through sooner than anticipated. Anyway, you can find me on all social media. Please find me, follow me, interact with me. Tell me, hey, Dex, I watched the show. I loved it. I hate it, or I disagree with this or agree with that. I want to see more of my viewers. I know there's a lot of you out there. I want to give shout outs to you guys. It's DexPC5 on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. You can also follow the show on Instagram at Just My Take Podcast. I may put some of the shows on YouTube. I don't know if I'm gonna do videos yet. I did it one time, but I think as a solo, I didn't really feel too good about it. But if you guys want me to put more stuff on YouTube, I could definitely do that. I just think with the platforms I have, I'm available on Spotify, iTunes, all these other podcasting platforms. So I do get a lot of exposure, but it never hurts to put more out there. If you guys want me to put more out there, if you want to see my reactions to it, to a lot of these topics, let me know. Hey, I'm all for it. So, find it, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it. I try to cover a lot of topics, especially entertainment this week. I know the past few weeks have been sports heavy, but, sometimes with music and entertainment, you don't really get too much. I know ironically some people be like, what are you talking about? But sometimes there's certain topics I just don't really feel enthralled to talk about. But this week, I love, it's great. I love rap beef, so let's get into it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good weekend. And just remember, everyone, a lot of topics have been spoken about on this episode. I know you guys have some strong opinions to this. Hopefully you guys learned something. But just remember, whether you agree or disagree, it's just my take. Peace.